banging at the door and she said, "Who is it?" And they just started shooting.
No, we down 3 times. Police search warrant.
There's somebody here dead? Yeah, my girlfriend. It's
Who
her
was
house.
shooting at us?
It was her house.
Who was shooting at us?
What happened in the final minutes of Breonna Taylor's life? A full telling of that story has been impeded because none of the 7 police officers who raided her apartment used body cameras, a violation of police policy.
No, I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot! Drop
19 shots fired.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
The police are meant to protect us, but for some women, they became the reason they were killed in cold blood. In this video, we're uncovering 5 chilling cases of women who were in front of police and got no justice. Viewer discretion is advised. These cases are chilling and disturbing.
Grayson, who did not turn on his body camera until after shooting Massey, explaining the situation to responding officers, who ask, "Where's the gun?"
Where's the gun? No, she had boiling water and came at me with boiling water. You shot her? Yeah. She said she was going to rebuke me in the name of Jesus and came at me with boiling water.
First up, the horrifying case of Breonna Taylor, the 26-year-old to death inside of her own home.
We have to go in if there's somebody there.
What is this about? We don't.
Dude, SWAT can come.
We're both just regular workers.
Hey, boss.
Where is she at in the apartment?
She's on the ground.
Where at?
In the hallway.
What kind of gun did she shoot?
It's a it's the regular 9mm.
Did she shoot or you shoot it?
It was her. You're scared.
March 13th, 2020. Breonna Taylor lay in bed watching a movie with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. It was after midnight, and the apartment was quiet, except for the sound of the TV. Neither of them knew that 7 armed officers had gathered outside their door. The police had come to raid Breonna's apartment, suspecting her ex-boyfriend of stashing drugs or cash there. Their information was wrong. Breonna hadn't been involved with him for months. At the time, the officers believed she lived alone and had no idea that Kenneth was there. The police claimed they announced themselves, but Breonna and Kenneth never heard it. Neither did the neighbors. For 45 seconds, the officers knocked. When no one answered, they rammed the door open. Inside, Breonna and Kenneth panicked. Kenneth, thinking it was a break-in, grabbed his gun. He fired a single shot Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly in the thigh. In response, the officers erupted in gunfire. Jonathan staggered back, bleeding, but raised his gun and fired. He shot blindly into the apartment. Detective Miles Cosgrove followed, stepping into the doorway, a vulnerable position police called the fatal funnel. He fired wildly, unloading 16 bullets. Between them, they fired 22 rounds in less than a minute. Breonna was struck 6 times. Bullets tore into her chest, her abdomen, her arm, her leg. She collapsed in the hallway, bleeding out.
911 operator Harris, where is their emergency?
I don't know what's happening. Somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. Oh my God.
Can you see where she's been shot at?
I can't get on the stomach.
Okay. Is she alert and able to talk to you?
No, breathe.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Detective Brett Hankison moved to the patio outside. Although all the windows were covered, he fired through the glass. 5 rounds into the living room, 5 more into a bedroom. None of his bullets hit Breonna or Kenneth, but 3 pierced the walls of the neighboring apartment. Inside, a pregnant woman, her son, and her partner cowered in fear. The apartment was destroyed. Bullets riddled the walls, floors, and ceilings. They tore through cupboards and cereal boxes, smashed a clock, and shredded Breonna's sister's clothes. Some of the rounds even penetrated the ceiling and the apartment above, where a man and his 2-year-old daughter were inside. After the shooting stopped, Breonna lay dying, blood seeping from her bullet wounds. Outside, the police arrested Kenneth. He begged them to help her, but they ignored him. Nearly 20 minutes passed before an EMT checked Breonna's body. By then, she was already dead. In the days and weeks that followed, the scale of the corruption became clear. The raid wasn't coordinated with SWAT, who had just carried out a safer, more organized operation across town. The officers relied on faulty intelligence. They didn't know Breonna had a new boyfriend, or that her sister often stayed at the apartment. They stormed in unprepared for what they would find. Inside the apartment, their actions were heinous. Brett fired blindly into covered windows. Miles emptied his weapon without seeing a target. Jonathan flew in all directions. None of the officers wore body cameras, leaving no way to verify what had happened. Even worse, no drugs were even found in Breonna's apartment.
And the officers fire 13 rounds down the hallway where Taylor and Walker stood. Taylor is shot 6 times on both sides of her body, in the abdomen and chest, her arm and leg, and twice in her foot. In all, these 2 officers fired 22 rounds in less than a minute. An FBI ballistics report found that both of them shot Taylor, and that one of the 16 rounds Cosgrove fired was the lethal bullet.
Months later, a grand jury indicted only one officer, Brett Hankison, not for killing Breonna, but for the bullets that endangered her neighbors. Neither Jonathan faced charges for their actions. Kentucky's Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, claimed their use of force was justified because Kenneth had fired first. Her family sued the city of Louisville and received a settlement, but their fight for justice continues to this day. Investigations are dragging on, whilst the officers involved return to their normal lives, and Breonna Taylor, unarmed and innocent, remains dead. Next, the tragic case of Sonya Massey, yet another innocent woman executed in the safety of her home.
More breaking news now. Disturbing body camera video shows the shooting death of Sonya Massey. The Springfield mother of 2 called police for help, but a sheriff's deputy shot her in her own home.
July 6, 2024, Woodside Township, Illinois. Sonya Massey, a 36-year-old mother, called 911, terrified that someone might be prowling outside her home. Minutes later, she lay dead on her kitchen floor, in the head by Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson. 2 deputies responded, Sean and an unnamed partner. They searched the property and found no intruder. Then, they entered Sonya's home. Sean demanded her ID. Sonya, clearly nervous, searched, through papers and her purse. Steam rose from a pot of boiling water on the stove. "Move that pot," Sean yelled. Sonya did what he said, lifting the pot. Her hands trembled as she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," Sean snapped. "Drop the pot," he yelled, pulling his gun. "I'll shoot you right in your face." His partner silently followed, drawing his own weapon. Sonya, startled, quickly apologized. "I'm sorry," she said, crouching behind the counter. But it didn't stop Sean.
That's my husband in the water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
I
rebuke you in the name of
no, I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Massey begins to set down the pot and then can be heard apologizing. Grayson fired 3 times, hitting Massey in the face.
I mean, you know, what else do we do? I'm not taking hot boiling water to the face.
He lurched toward her, gun raised, shouting for her to drop the pot. Sonya may have raised it defensively, but she didn't attack. It didn't matter. Sean fired 3 shots, hitting her in the head. Blood spilled across the kitchen. Sonya crumpled to the floor. The unnamed deputy radioed the shooting and turned to grab his medical kit. "Don't bother," Sean said coldly. "She's done." Sonya was later pronounced dead at the hospital.
No, I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Massey starts to set down the pot and apologizes. Grayson fires 3 times, striking her in the face.
Headshot wounded female, 1078.
Prosecutors say Grayson's partner tried to give the 36-year-old first aid, even though Grayson discouraged him.
I'm gonna go get my kit. No, she's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
Even though he was armed and present during the entire killing, the second deputy wasn't charged. He never intervened, never questioned Sean's actions, and followed every command. He left her to die, yet he walked away unscathed, facing no punishment. Sean was fired and charged with first-degree murder, but for Sonya's family, this was no justice. Body camera footage revealed the horror of the night. Sonya, a frightened woman in her own home, holding a pot, begging for her life. Third, we have the terrifying case of Atatiana Jefferson, the 28-year-old gunned down in front of her 8-month-old nephew.
3 years ago, a woman is inside her home. She's playing video games with her nephew
by the hands of a Fort Worth police officer.
The moment she's going to be dead through no fault of her own.
Prayed, I cried, and I'm going to fight.
October 12th, 2019, Fort Worth, Texas. Atatiana Jefferson, a 28-year-old woman, was and killed in her own home by a police officer. She'd committed no crime. She wasn't a threat. She was playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew. And moments later, she was dead. It started with a call. A neighbor noticed Atatia's front door was open and called a non-emergency number for a welfare check. Officers Aaron Dean and his partner arrived, but they didn't treat it as a welfare check. It was classified as an open structure call, protocol for potential burglaries.
The woman who was shot dead by a Fort Worth cop pointed a gun when she heard noises outside her window, according to a just-released police report. The police officer fired almost immediately after he saw her.
Body camera footage showed the officers creeping around the outside of Atatia's house. They didn't knock. They didn't announce themselves. Aaron moved into the backyard, shining his flashlight through a window. He spotted Atatia inside. Without hesitation, he yelled, "Put your hands up! Show me your hands!" and fired a single through the glass. Atatia fell where she stood, the bullets piercing her body and killing her instantly. All the while, her nephew watched in horror. The boy later told investigators they had heard noises outside and thought someone might be breaking in. Atatia grabbed her legally owned handgun, holding it at her side as she walked toward the window. She never raised it. She didn't even have a chance to see the officer. Aaron claimed he perceived a threat, but body camera footage showed no evidence he could see Atatia's gun. Reflections from his flashlight window, and his partner testified that she could only see Atatia's face through the glass. The officers never identified themselves as police. Atatia's death was instant and senseless.
Put your hands up! Show me your hands! Slain, Atatiana Jefferson and her 8-year-old nephew Zion were playing the video game Call of Duty when they heard the noise at 2:30 a.m. Saturday. She took her handgun from her purse, pointed it toward the window, was shot, and fell to the ground, the nephew told cops. Police released a still photo of the handgun yesterday.
Aaron Dean was a rookie, having joined the Fort Worth Police Department just 18 months earlier. His record already raised red flags. Supervisors had documented issues with his tunnel vision and poor communication. Before joining the force, Aaron pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor assault charge after groping a woman at a university library. 2 days after the shooting, Aaron resigned before he could be fired. Fort Worth Police Chief Ed Krause called Dean's actions a violation of policy on use of force and de-escalation. Aaron refused to cooperate with the investigation, declining to provide statements about the incident.
This man murdered someone. He should be arrested.
What words they could share were not easy to get out. The family of Atatiana Jefferson united in solidarity Monday, her sister asking for Fort Worth PD to step aside and allow an independent investigation into her killing.
There is simply no justification for his actions.
Early Saturday morning, Fort Worth officers responded to a welfare check call at Jefferson's mom's house because of an open front door. Body camera video released by Fort Worth PD shows the officer going into the backyard and then shortly after shining his flashlight into a window.
Show me your hands!
The shot killed Jefferson in her home, her 8-year-old nephew standing next to her.
Aaron was eventually arrested and charged with murder, but justice was slow. Years passed as his trial was delayed again and again, for reasons ranging from COVID-19 court backlogs to vacation plans of his defense attorneys. Finally, in December 2022, Aaron stood trial. The jury did not convict him of murder. Instead, they found him guilty of the lesser charge of manslaughter. On December 20th, 2022, he was sentenced to 11 years, 10 months, and 12 days in prison. Aaron's conviction didn't feel like justice to Atatia's family or the community. Atatiana Jefferson was a young, ambitious woman with a bright future. She had a right to feel safe in her own home. Instead, she was gunned down by someone meant to protect her. Our fourth case is the chilling case of Aleka Simmons, the 27-year-old woman murdered by her boyfriend because police ignored her.
She would say, "I love him. I don't want to leave him like everybody else leave him."
Upon arrival, officers were immediately fired upon by an unknown suspect hiding between two residences. Officers returned fire. One of our officers was struck multiple times and was immediately evacuated and transported to a local area hospital further medical treatment.
July 31st, 2019, a frantic 911 call broke the silence of the night in Lithonia, Georgia. This is Aleka Simmons. If anything happens to me, then the line went quiet. Moments before, the dispatcher had heard her shaking voice arguing with someone. Are you threatening me? You're going to kill me? Then, silence. The DeKalb County Police arrived at the home on the 4,800 block of Hodgdon Corner Cove. They knocked once, waited, and then left, not even searching the home. Inside, 27-year-old Aleka Simmons was trapped with her abuser.
An officer is recovering after being shot multiple times while responding to a deadly domestic dispute. Let's get you straight out to Nick Sturdivant live on the scene.
Yeah, good morning, Jennifer. Police are still looking for the suspect, Otis Walker. They said he's considered armed and dangerous.
Aleka was a bold, hard-working woman, a mother, a sister, and a friend. She loved fiercely and lived unapologetically. That love, however, became her greatest vulnerability when she started dating Otis Dennis Walker, a man with a violent past. Friends warned her about him. They told her he had anger issues, that he was dangerous. Aleka didn't listen. She loved him. Even when he shoved her, dragged her, threatened her, she stayed. The fights escalated. Police were called again and again.
We've learned this is not Walker's first run-in with the law. According to arrest records back in 2015, Walker was charged with felony aggravated assault. Records show he bonded out the same day.
One day, Otis was finally arrested for attacking Aleka. But Aleka bailed him out. She had no idea that the next day, Otis would kill her.
Police got the call at 12:30 this morning at a home on Hodgdon Corners Cove. When officers got there, they told us that Walker immediately started shooting at them. An officer was hit multiple times. Police said the officer is expected to be okay. And Walker is accused of shooting and killing his girlfriend after an argument. Again, he is considered armed and dangerous.
The night of July 31st, Aleka made that last desperate call to 911. She was pleading for her life. Her words were frantic, terrified, her voice shaking. She knew what was coming. Otis's mother, Sharon Walker, woke up to the sounds of screaming. She found Aleka and Otis arguing. Again, the fight was explosive. A single gunshot exploded through the house. Sharon ran back to Otis's room. She found Aleka dead on the floor, bleeding still seeping from her body. Sharon screamed for help, running with her family members to the neighbor's house to call 911. When police arrived, Otis was waiting. He fired 19 rounds at the officers, striking Officer Derek Nunn 4 times. The bullets tore into his body, his arms, his side, as he collapsed on the ground. Then, Otis disappeared into the woods. Police warned the public, Otis Walker is armed and dangerous. A week-long manhunt ensued. Finally, on August 8th, Otis Walker was found hiding at a gas station. When officers arrested him, he had a handwritten note, an apology to the police and Officer Nunn. But for Aleka, there was no apology or remorse whatsoever.
Breaking news this morning, a murder suspect on the run for a week, now captured. Otis Walker, wanted for killing his girlfriend and shooting a police officer multiple times, is in custody, tracked down in Lithonia last night. The DeKalb County Sheriff's Office fugitive unit arresting him. Police say Walker killed Aleka Simmons in a domestic dispute. DeKalb County police officer Derek Nunn was injured in a shootout with Walker. The officer still recovering and expected to be okay.
In court, Otis tried to justify it all. He claimed self-defense. He said he shot Aleka because he was afraid of her. But the evidence told a different story. The bullet fired at Aleka came from Otis's hand. The 19 rounds he shot police, they were aimed to kill. The jury saw through him. On November 8, 2023, Otis Walker was found guilty of malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm. The judge sentenced him to life in prison plus 65 years. The truth is, Aleka's murder could have been stopped. She begged the police for help and even called 911. Police arrived and left, and because of that, she was violently murdered. Finally, our last haunting case is the tragic story of Korryn Gaines, a 23-year-old mother whose standoff with police ended in a hail of bullets, leaving her and her baby son as victims, while an entire SWAT team stood by and failed to protect her. August 1, 2016, Randallstown, Maryland. A quiet day turned into bloodshed inside a small apartment. Korryn Gaines, 23 years old, was shot by police. Her 5-year-old son, Cody, was hit too. It all started with a warrant. Police wanted her for missing court over a traffic stop. Months earlier, Korryn had refused to show her license. She drove with a homemade cardboard plate that read, "Any government official who compromises this pursuit of happiness and right to travel will be held criminally responsible." She told officers that she didn't follow their laws. So on that summer day, police came to her door, a warrant in their hands, guns at the ready. When they knocked, Korryn didn't answer. She stayed inside her apartment with her shotgun and her son. Police got the key from the landlord. They tried to enter, but the door chain stopped them. Then they kicked it in. Inside, chaos erupted. Korryn was waiting with her gun. She pointed it at an officer, so he quickly left, but SWAT soon arrived. Then, the standoff began. For hours, Korryn sat in that apartment, filming everything. The videos went live on Facebook and Instagram. In one, her little boy says, "They trying to kill us." She asked him what he wanted to do, and he said, "Nothing," looking confused and scared. He was only 5 years old. The police watched the videos. People online were encouraging her to hold out. "Don't give up," they said. So police told Facebook to shut her accounts down, so they did. Then, things took a dark turn. Korryn refused to surrender. The police said she raised her shotgun again. That's when they fired. A single shot came first. Korryn fired back, but missed. Then the police let loose 4 more rounds. One Korryn, killing her instantly.
Well, Jess, today we heard from the medical examiner who said Gaines was shot a total of 5 times. We also heard from the major who oversaw the standoff that day, and Jay Wendell Gordon, the family's attorney, fired back at him, saying there should have been more negotiating and officers should have dropped their weapons.
As the shooting unfolded, Cody was in her arms. The bullets hit him too. They tore into his elbow and shrapnel cut his little face. When it was over, Korryn Gaines was dead on her apartment floor, with her son covered in blood. There were no body cameras, no footage from police, only Korryn's live videos, now deleted. She had filmed her own murder up until the moment she took her last breath.
Video of the 6-hour standoff quickly went viral as Korryn Gaines live streamed the confrontation with Baltimore County Police before she was shot and killed.
What are they trying to do?
They trying to kill us.
Now, more than a year later, Gaines' family is seeking $4 million, claiming police were reckless and irresponsible.
We feel confident, as confident as we always did about our facts that we had to present.
The medical examiner testified Friday saying Gaines' death was ruled a homicide, that she was shot 5 times in the chest, back, arm, wrist, and thigh, injuries that are rapidly fatal and most likely caused her to die within seconds to minutes.
Afterwards, her family fought back. They said the police murdered her. A jury agreed, and they awarded $38 million to her family, saying the first shot, the one that killed her, was unreasonable. But that decision didn't last. A judge overturned it, saying Korryn was a threat when she raised her gun. He said the officer acted reasonably. Then, in 2020, the appeals court brought the $38 million back. The judge had overstepped. It wasn't his decision. It was the jury's. Cody, Korryn's son, initially got a $3 million settlement, but it was later cut to just $400,000. In the end, Korryn tragically died holding her shotgun, trying to protect her 5-year-old son from officers who said they had no choice. What are your thoughts on these disturbing cases? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video.